I played football at Nebraska in 2007. Today, I run the world's largest NIL marketplace. Here's the advice I would give my 18-year-old self if I was a college freshman in the year 2024. Do I think that recruiting process is more complicated now than in 2007? I think the money being more visible makes it seem that way. The recruiting process in 2007 was about sending out DVDs or VHS tapes and hoping that a coach would call my high school coach and give me a scholarship offer. Today's student athletes are using Huddle to list highlights online as early as their freshman year, even youth sports, and getting direct messages from coaches across the country. So today's recruiting is way different than it was in 2007 when I was getting recruited to Nebraska and schools across the country. Athletes have to deal with a lot of things. They've got coaches in their DMs. They're worried about their Twitter game, their Instagram game. They're posting content, trying to get their likes up. They're posting offers. They're posting visits. They're taking selfies with fans on the streets. It's just a different world today. So the world of NIL is not really impacting recruiting as much. My youngest brother is getting recruited to schools across the country, and NIL has not come up in conversations as he's going into his senior year of high school with a dozen Power 5, Power 4 offers from schools across the country. So NIL is not necessarily part of today's conversation with a high school recruit unless you're at the very end of the recruiting cycle and money might start to come up. So if I'm talking to myself as an 18-year-old in 2024, if I were a college recruit today, here's what I would say to myself. Focus on where you're going to school, the school itself, the coaching staff, the history, the programs, the facilities. All of those things are going to change while you're in school. It is highly unlikely that the head coach that you commit to is going to be the head coach when you leave that school. It just simply is not statistically likely in today's game. So commit to the college, commit to the community, understand that the football program is going to go through lots of moves and changes. The dollars may come and go. The boosters may pay you, they may not. You may get that deal, it may go to somebody else, but you yourself are going to be stuck with that degree, that community, and that college for the rest of your life. It'll be a banner on your wall someday, and you'll be proud of where you went to school. You may forget the people that were part of the program. You might forget the payments that you received to be there, but today and forever, you will be an alumni of that school. So focus on the school itself. All the other things will fall in place. I was a top 20 linebacker recruit in the class of 2007. If I were getting recruited today in the class of 2025, I wonder how much money could I make? So I bust out the Open Doors NIL book. This is something that we provide to colleges across the country and collectives, and inside it contains information about how much athletes are actually earning based on their position, their sport, their conference. So here's the answer. How much would I make if I were a top 20 linebacker in the country going into my freshman year at Nebraska in 2007? Well, if I were paid like today's linebackers are, probably around $188,000 a year is what I could have made in 2007 if I were paid like today's top linebackers in the country are making through NIL. $188,000 a year. That's what the data says. Do collectives have a major impact on today's recruits and where they go to school? Should they? Here's my thoughts. Collectives are there to help athletes that are in a certain market source deals from donors and boosters and businesses in the community to complement the athlete's natural earning ability through NIL. So these collectives are set up to drive as much value as they can to athletes, but it is very important to understand that they're focused on the athletes that are in that market. So in the early days of NIL, collective conversations and high school recruits, they went hand in hand, but there's been a shift. Today, collectives focus on the kids that are on campus already. If you have proven to be valuable to your team that you are on, then your collective earnings will increase. So making a decision on what is possible as a high school athlete from a collective is maybe a little short-sighted because you want to know how much money are the athletes that are on campus that are all conference, how much are they getting from the collective? Because that is what you want to aim for. Sure, there's going to be some incentives or some ways to get paid early on in your career, but the big bucks from collectives are going to athletes that are on campus and are proven to be all conference caliber athletes. So if I'm going back in time, talking to my 18-year-old self, if I were a recruit in 2024, I would say focus on where you can get good playing time, focus on where you can have good peers around you on your team, be a part of a winning program, and know that if you succeed early in your career and you get to rise up the ranks, become a starter, maybe all conference, then the collective dollars should come your way. So if I'm on a recruiting visit, I want to find the player that plays my position that was the highest ranked on the team or that was the best performer at my position in the last year and say, is a collective taking care of you, and they will tell you everything. Whatever the collective is doing to support the all conference caliber athletes on that roster, that is the most likely outcome for you as a high school recruit going to a certain campus. Aim to be all conference, aim to be top caliber, and you will get taken care of by collectives. That's the name of the game in 2024. The most misunderstood part of NIL for high school recruits is the money comes later. Signing as a freshman and stepping onto campus and expecting a major check from collectives, that doesn't happen. Collectives are focused on compensating and bringing opportunities to athletes that are later in their career. They've shown that they can perform once they get to campus. They are high caliber, all conference athletes. So the dollars are reserved for high performers already on campus. Now, there are some markets where every athlete, whether freshman or senior, has some level of base opportunities from a collective, but the big bucks are going to all conference athletes that want to stay on campus. They want to be a part of that community, part of that championship program. So that's where the collective dollars are going. So the biggest misconception right now for high school recruits as it relates to NIL is that the collective is going to bring cash to you day one. The cash doesn't come the day you step on campus. The cash comes when you are all conference. And that's the name of the game of collectives in 2024. Today's recruits are missing out on NIL opportunities simply by not doing this one thing, and that is building a social media audience. Give people a reason to follow your social channels while you are a recruit that is not attached to you being a recruit. Let me tell you what I mean. High school athletes are going to post on Twitter every offer they receive. If you pick up any Twitter account or X account or Instagram account of any high school recruit and you scroll through, what you're going to see is an offer, an offer, an offer, an offer. And what's great about those offers is that one message that says, hey, I just got an offer from Nebraska. I just got an offer from Duke. The fans of those programs are going to start to follow that recruit. So they're going to build this audience of people that are different fan bases from across the country. But the only reason that they're following the athlete at that time is the hope that that athlete goes to their school. But what if the recruit had another reason for those fans to stick around? Because there's no way for a recruit to commit to all the schools that follow them. So they need to have a reason for fans to stick around. So instead of seeing a recruit's feed be offer, 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 highlight, offer, offer, highlight, offer, offer, visit, highlight, highlight, there should be something else in that feed. Show people what you do on the weekend. Show people the games you play with your friends. Throw up a Twitch stream, right? Show your outfit, like get into fashion or fitness, or showcase your friends, your family, like whatever makes you, you. Give people that follow you because you're a potential recruit or signee to the school a reason to stick around when you ultimately commit to play somewhere else. Today's recruits are missing out on that one big NIL opportunity simply by leveraging the recruiting experience to build up an audience that lasts beyond their commitment and beyond their time in college. That's a major NIL opportunity that most recruits are missing. I get asked a lot if NIL is a distraction for student athletes while in college. If I go back in time to my time in Nebraska and I try and think, would this have been a distraction for me? And the answer is no. When you are a college athlete performing at a high level, it's practice, 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 game, study, 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 workout, game, practice, game. Like your mentality is all about the sport, your team, your performance. Only on Saturday nights after a win and you're scrolling through and you're trying to see how many tackles did I have compared to my peers in the Big 12, only then are you comparing yourself to those others in your conference, but you're comparing the stat that matters most to you. And at that point in time, it should be your on-field performance. So during the season, NIL is probably not on the minds of today's college athletes. It's about the team. It's about performance. It's about how I stack up on the stat sheet, not how I'm stacking up cash. Now, in the off season, you might pull your head back and start to look around and see, oh, somebody at Oklahoma got a car deal, or somebody at Kansas is promoting the local Wendy's franchise, and wonder, well, why aren't I getting those deals? Reality is those guys are getting those deals because their stat sheet's probably better than yours. It's probably better than mine if I'm talking to myself in the past. So anybody that is getting all the praise and all the attention as it relates to NIL, whether they're getting the cars, they're getting the ambassador deals, they're showing up on billboards, they're getting promotional opportunities on social media, those athletes are probably the ones that are performing the best, right? Student athletes know this. Like I would know this. At Nebraska, I wasn't sitting there saying, oh man, I should be getting all conference when I had way less tackles than the guy that got the all conference bid. Like the stats matter. Stats impact everything in sports, including your NIL opportunity. So I can't imagine that today's athletes are really bummed out to see that athletes in other markets are getting NIL deals when they aren't, especially if they are not performing at that level. Now, what would be interesting is if an athlete has all the stats and all the opportunities and they're seeing athletes that have worse stats than them and not performing on the field, getting all these NIL deals. In that situation, I bet there's one thing that that person getting the deals is doing that that athlete's not, and it's building a brand, actually having a reason to get the deals. If you rely solely on your sport and your stats to get NIL deals, then you're going to miss out on opportunities that are going to athletes that are using social media and personal branding to get deals. So there's a combination of these things that is going to lead to better outcomes for anybody. But if I had to think back in time, would I have been distracted by seeing one of my competitors, someone I'm going up against, getting an NIL deal? Probably not, because I would say they deserve it. They earned it. They went to the right school. They have the right stats. They built the right social media following. I can't get jealous of the success of somebody else, right? That person worked for it. I think that all athletes understand the competitive nature of sport. Anytime you see an athlete that is succeeding at any level, on field or off the field, it's likely due to hard work, discipline, outcomes that they did more than I did, or they took advantage of an opportunity that maybe I didn't have, but I cannot compare myself to them. And that is true about NIL, and it would have a major impact on me today. Is that mentality in 2024. It's the same mentality I had in 2007. We just didn't have the money floating around. If I could take that 18-year-old version of myself and move me into 2024 and be an 18-year-old freshman at Nebraska in 2024 with NIL, I got a question for myself. Would I use an agent? I think I would. I think that athletes, if they can find the right person to help them get NIL deals and navigate the NIL space, it's a no-brainer. Like, there's only so much time in the day for an athlete to find opportunities for themselves. What an agent or a rep does is spend those other hours that the athletes focus on school, focus on workouts, focus on study hall, focus on practice, on games. While student athletes are doing that, your agent marketing rep better be out going and sourcing deals. I believe that athletes should sign up for every possible platform that could maybe ever bring them a deal, from people to platforms. I don't care. Athletes need people in the world working on their behalf to bring them deals. So if I go back in time and say, hey, would I use an agent today if I were on campus as a freshman? I'd say, yeah, I'd have a bunch. I would have a bunch of marketing reps. I'd sign up for all the platforms. It doesn't matter. Get deals, get deals, get deals, show up, perform, succeed, get paid. Why would you limit the amount of opportunities you have? For most athletes, this is the time in their life where they're going to get the most attention and opportunity they will ever have as a marketer, as a brand ambassador. So sign up, get an agent, get a marketing rep, get the platforms, get all the people working on your behalf, because time is short, man. Opportunities are hard to find. So more people out there working for you, the better. Back in Nebraska, 2007 through 2009, I went to every community event possible. And here's why. When they set up these volunteer events, go to a hospital, go to an old folks home, hand out food, soup, read books to kids, whatever it was, I was there. And it's because it gave me a chance to connect with the community, because I knew that my time at Nebraska wasn't forever. But if I could build an impact or create a connection with people in the community, maybe they might remember me for a little bit longer than the 3 or 4 years I was there on campus. So that was really important to me. Fast forward to 2024, if I'm on campus today, I'm doing the same thing, but I am working with the collective. If the collective has an appearance, I'm at every single appearance. If the collective has a podcast, I'm on the podcast. If the collective has a signing autographs opportunity, I'm there. I'm signing autographs. I'm signing everything, because there's only a limited amount of time as a college athlete that you have all this attention and energy around you, that people want to support you. And so today, if I had on campus working with the collective, I would do everything they offer. I don't care what the pay is. The pay is secondary to the impact that you can have in your life, building up the business acumen and the connections in the community. So yes, I would work with the collective. I would do everything. Again, back in time at Nebraska, I was at every community event. If I fast forward, I would be at every collective event, because those are the ways that you leave a lasting impact in your community, actually have an outcome that you can speak for, and making some money in 2024 ain't bad either. But the real value is in that connection in the community, the people that you meet along the way.